welcome to the Vanarama National League highlight show on BT Sport. We're now a third of the way into the season and already there have been plenty of surprises so far. We lost two managers this week. Harrogate and Salford are flying high, as are Solihull. But we start on the southeast coast. On Friday, Chris Kinnear became the second managerial casualty in the league when he was sacked by Dover Athletic after 5 years. His second spell in charge had largely been successful, gaining promotion to the 5th tier and not finishing lower than 8th since their return. But with only one win in their first 14 games, the club felt it was time for a change. Assistant boss Jake LeBeau was the man in the Dover dugout, and his first game in charge pitted him against Manager of the Month Graham Alexander and his informed Salford side. The league leaders were on an 11-game unbeaten run, winning the last 6, and they demonstrated why in the opening 20 minutes, with the division's top scorer finding the target twice in 2 minutes. Adam Rooney beating Mitch Walker with a toe poke for his 10th goal, before Danny Whitehead found him in the box, Rooney losing his defender to head in. Dover had conceded 2 goals in each of the last 4 games, but they halved the deficit after the break. But Santi Gomez volleying past Chris Neal for his first since February. Any thoughts of a comeback for the Whites were short-lived as the man of the moment popped up for his 3rd. Pinball in the Dover area with Scott Wiseman first denied on the line before Rooney's 2nd attempt sealed his 9th career hat-trick. And just after the hour mark, the Amis made it 4 and 13 in their last 4 games. Carl Piergiani getting on the scoresheet this time, heading in Danny Lloyd's corner. A 7th win sees Salford stay top for a 2nd week. Dover have now lost 10 games out of 15.
We know in October nothing is sorted at all, so we've gave ourselves a good start, but there's a lot of other good teams that are looking to compete with us at the top end, so we just got to focus on ourselves as much as possible and just concentrate on the next game, and that's what we're going to do.
This campaign, Leyton Orient are yet to lose away from East London and travel to Maidenhead, looking to keep pace with Salford at the summit. The visitors won at York Road by 1 goal last season, and it took the O's just 11 minutes to take the lead this time round. Joby McAnuff crossing for Macaulay Bonne to head home his 10th of the season and a 6th goal in his last 5 matches. It was thanks to some excellent defending from Marvin Ekpiteta to preserve that lead. The National League Player of the Month for September showcased why he received the award by first producing a superb tackle to deny Ryan Bird, before getting back into the right position again to divert a header from James Akintunde behind for a corner. Orient's unbeaten start to the campaign came to an end at home to Sutton, but they remained undefeated on their travels after James Alabi slotted past goalkeeper Carl Pentney to seal a 2-0 victory that keeps them in contact at the top of the table.
Professional, resilient, and obviously very ruthless when chances come along, so I don't think we were at our most fluid or free-flowing, but that was a very good result off of a disappointing result last week, so pleased to get back on track.
A win away at Dagenham last time out had ended EBBSFLEET's run of 6 games without victory. Now it was time to address their home form, which, just like the weather, had been fairly miserable. Opponents Harrogate had every intention of making it an even more unpleasant afternoon, though. It was almost a nightmare start for Daryl McMahon's side when Nathan Ashmore's clearance only went as far as George Thompson, the keeper managing to save his blushes. He wasn't able to stop the opening goal, though, which went to Harrogate's Callum Howe. Half an hour in, heading in Joe Leasley's corner. A free kick conceded by EBBSFLEET in the second half led to the 2nd goal. Josh Falkingham taking it quickly, with Thompson playing in Aaron Williams, who drilled it past Ashmore for his 2nd goal in 2 games. Town stay 3rd in the table, keeping the pressure on Salford at the top.
In terms of away performance, it was right up there for us. We shut the back door today, and we made it hard to be broken down defensively. Whilst attacking wise, we were a threat from a set piece, and also it was a great finish for the second. But we looked like we could get through, which is really pleasing. But we'll obviously get them back down to earth. It's a good win for us. But in the week, we shall continually try and drive it home. What we're about, and then another good game to look forward to next week.
Harrogate haven't been the only surprise package this season. Solihull are defying the odds too. This time last year they were second from bottom. Fast forward 12 months, Tim Flowers is in charge and they've won their last 4 games and sit 5th in the table. And the West Midlands side took their good form to North West London to face a Barnet side without a win in 4. A spectacular effort from Adi Youssef almost produced an opener for the visitors, only for Mark Cousins to make an equally excellent save. The home side then crafted their own chance to open the scoring. After a fancy but effective flick from Manny Duku, the forward made a run into the box to get onto the end of David Tutonda's cross, only to put his effort over the bar. But eventually the form book was turned on its head at the Hive. Wesley Fonguk to Josh Walker, back to Fonguk, and the Bees had the lead on the hour mark. That was the first goal Solihull had conceded in just over 7.5 hours of football. And in the 9th minute of added time, an intercepted free kick eventually led to the feet of Fonguk, who calmly scored his second to complete a welcome 3 points for the Bees.
Yeah, listen, I've just said to them, I ain't going to start. If you lose, you're a waste of time. If you win, you're great, because they've been magnificent so far. But we were off our game today. We didn't play well. I've no complaints, particularly with the result. I didn't think it was a very good game, if I'm honest. I didn't think there was a hell of a lot of quality. And Barnet looked like they needed it a little bit more than we did, and that can't happen.
Home form has been decent, but we're not scoring enough goals. That's a mixture of things, mixture of never playing 2 people at the same time that have got an understanding. We're having to mix and match. Amount of injuries we've got. But the biggest fact that we are doing what we're doing is hard work. Everyone's working their absolute socks off. And if you work hard, you normally get a little bit of reward, and we're doing that at the moment.
Promotion hopefuls Wrexham continued their top-of-the-table push with a win against Barnet last weekend, maintaining their unbeaten home record. For their second game in 7 days at the racecourse, they welcome league newcomers Havant Waterlooville, who were without a win in 5. Wrexham were unlucky not to go ahead in the opening 2 minutes. A short corner routine straight from the training ground almost paid off, but Jordan Maguire-Drew's shot was tipped onto the bar by Ben Dudzinski. It was one of several saves by the Havant keeper, but there was nothing he could do about this one. Rakeel Pike drawing in 5 Havant players, but still managing to curl his shot into the corner. The striker on loan from Huddersfield with his 4th of the season. Another set piece almost doubled the advantage before the break for Wrexham, but for Dudzinski and the woodwork again. Luke Summerfield's free kick causing chaos in the Havant area, but Lee Bradbury's men somehow managing to scramble the ball clear. The visitors' only real effort of note came in the second half when Bradley Tarbuck unleashed a shot from distance, flying just past Rob Langton's post. Another slender victory for the Dragons, but it sees them maintain their top 4 position.
Following their 1-0 victory over Airdronians last month, Sutton's journey in the Scottish Challenge Cup continues in Ireland next week. The Surrey side will face Bohemians in the quarter-finals of the competition. But first, they travel to the northwest of England to face Barrow. The Cumbrian club narrowly avoided relegation last season, but so far they've stayed out of trouble. Jack Hindle had scored 4 in his first 4 games of the season, and following 9 without a goal, he made it 3 in 2 in the first 2 minutes. A lot of numbers in that particular report, so just to simplify it this time, Rhys Norrington-Davis played the ball in to an unmarked teenager, Luke Burgess, to score his first senior goal. Sutton had won their previous 3 on the road, but luck was against them in the second half. Aaron Drinnan's header bounced back off the post, then was bundled in via Kenny Davis, only to eventually see the goal ruled out for what looked like a foul on goalkeeper Andy Firth. Then the visitors were denied again by the officials. This time, Aswad Thomas, seeing his effort, ruled out for offside. Tyler Smith almost increased Barrow's lead late on, but after showing good composure, his shot came back off the post. But the miss wouldn't prove costly. By the time Sutton did find the net, it came far too late to give them a chance of getting something from the game. The header from Aswad Thomas arriving in added time as Barrow held on for victory.
First half, at times we were very good, scored 2 excellent goals. Second half we got a bit nervy. Obviously we've had injuries, illnesses, suspensions to deal with, and lads aren't quite up to speed, so it's affected us a little bit, and recent results have affected us in terms of getting a bit nervous to get over the line and get the right results. But I think we've earned that rub of the green. I thought, you know, they probably should have had 2 or 3, but we should have had 5 or 6. That's a fair reflection.
Halifax started the season as early promotion contenders, winning 5 of their opening 7 games. Since then, they haven't won any, with fans now fearing another rollercoaster campaign. It hasn't been plain sailing for Aldershot either. Gary Waddock's men, who've been in the playoffs for the last 2 seasons, found themselves in 19th place going into the weekend without a win in 2. The hosts surged ahead after just 8 minutes. Portsmouth loanee Adam May with his 3rd goal in 4 appearances. Halifax had drawn their last 2 games but found themselves with work to do when the Shots scored a second. Adam McDonnell netting his 1st since January. And they were 3-0 down shortly after the break. A poor clearance from keeper Sam Johnson allowed Scott Rendell to cross the ball back in, with Jake Gallagher finishing off with a looping header. Jamie Fullerton's side tried in vain to make a comeback. Dale Southwell with an opportunity, rounding Jake Cole but denied on the line by Lewis Kinsella. Jordan Preston also went close twice for Halifax, first hitting the crossbar before shooting wide with one of the last kicks of the game. Aldershot keep their 3rd clean sheet and record their biggest victory in over a year.
Pressure is mounting on Chesterfield boss Martin Allen. The Spyrites are without a win in 11 games and have collected just 3 points in that miserable run. Not only that, they've only scored 3 times in 9 games, all of which made horrific reading as they faced a Fylde side containing the prolific Danny Rowe, a striker with 8 goals already this season. Not only that, but Fylde boasted the best defence in the league. All not comfortable reading for the home side, who almost fell behind when Joe Cardle arrived late at the back post to sky his attempt over the bar and stand alike. And the visitors continued to apply pressure in the second half. Danny Phyllis-Kirk playing in Danny Rowe, who dinked wide of the post. The chances kept coming. Substitute Ashley Hemmings heading over when left completely unmarked. Chesterfield were almost reduced to 10 men. When Curtis Weston initially saw red for what referee Joe Hull saw as a handball. But after consultation with his assistant, the dismissal was overturned. An improvement for Chesterfield against good opposition, but still a winless performance all the same.
Very committed. We played with passion. We played with great energy. We had a couple of good chances. Never managed to find the back of the net.
I'm not going to come here, stand here and say we did enough to win, because I know we can be better, but from my perspective, I said it before, if we can't win then we don't lose, and keeping clean sheets is a recipe to be able to do that.
Both games between Hartlepool and Bournemouth last season ended in stalemate. This campaign has seen both find the net 16 times, so who would break the deadlock? Luke Garrard's side went into the match off the back of 3 successive defeats, and they came close to conceding early on here. Ellery Balcom stopping Mark Kitching from close range. Liam Noble was there for the rebound, but Nico Muir just flicked it wide. At the other end, Josh Umera tried his luck from outside the box, his strike rattling the crossbar. There seemed to be nothing between them once again, Balcom pulling off another fine save when Luke James went close at his near post. The breakthrough arrived just after half an hour and it went to the hosts. Noble first with a corner and then the cross, which Andrew Davis fired in with his head. That's his first goal in English football in over 4 years. The visitors had the chance to equalise after the break. Gozi Ugru's shot parried by Scott Loach, his teammates unable to capitalise on the rebound. But with a taste for scoring again, Captain Davis sealed it with a second inside the last 10 minutes. A last effort fell to James, but the North East side had already done enough to condemn Borehamwood to a 4-game losing streak for the first time in 2 years.
For us, it was one of the most pleasing performances of the season, and you know, some people might find that strange, but you know, Borehamwood are a tough team, and the type of football they play, they get the ball forward early, they play on the second ball, and you know, we had to be at it today, and fortunately the boys did that today.
I felt that we was very much on the front foot. I thought we played a lot of the game in Hartlepool's half, and to concede the goal in the manner in which we did from a corner, Connor Smith knows he shouldn't have gone to sleep. Woods goes and has a short one, Noble and Tom Champ dealing with Andrew Davies. Not good enough.
Topsy-turvy recent form from Gateshead. The Tynesiders had won 3 matches in a row on their travels, yet at the Gateshead International Arena they had suffered 3 defeats on the bounce, including a 1-0 loss to Eastleigh last time out. Determined to send the home fans happy this time round, Steve Watson's men hosted Dagenham. And they came out on the front foot. After the visiting defence failed to clear their lines from Scott Barrow's deflected ball into the box. A driven cross from Robbie Tinkler was turned in by Stephen Rigg to produce a lead in the first 18 minutes. And just a couple of minutes later, Gateshead were 2 up. Tom White with his first senior goal as the game looked won before half-time. A long-range effort from Barrow proved no problem for Elliot Justum in the Daggers goal as the home side pressed their advantage. And the dominance continued after the break. Scott Bowden breaking through, but failing to hit the target. A rare chance for Dagenham came via a clever free kick routine that led to Shamir Mullings producing a save from Ainsley Pears. Ex-Newcastle defender Mike Williamson later saw his header cleared off the line via the heel of Mullings, but ultimately Gateshead inflicted a 4th defeat in a row on the disappointing Daggers.
Braintree's 15th game in the National League proved to be Brad Quinton's last. Just 6 points on the board has seen them rooted to the bottom of the table, signalling his departure on Sunday afternoon. The announcement came less than 24 hours after their match with Eastleigh at Cressing Road, where they were playing for their first home win. Luke Allen's shot from distance almost got them off to a perfect start. But 15 minutes in and they were a goal down. An unmarked Mark Yates heading into the oncoming path of Paul McCallum, who slotted in his 6th of the season. Another super save from Max Stryek stopped the hosts equalising. Mohamed Bettimer with the powerful free kick. But even when the visiting keeper was off his line, the Irons couldn't make it count. Striker Jake Cass hitting the woodwork. It looked increasingly like it wasn't going to be Braintree's day as the Spitfires scored a second before the break. Chris Zabrowski with a fine run before rounding keeper Ben Killett and netting his first of the season. The Iron did pull a goal back, Bettimer heading in on 72 minutes to make it 2-1. But the chance for Cass to equalise on his debut went begging, and the chance of a point gone. An 11th defeat and the final straw for the manager.
We kept him in the dressing room there and a good heart-to-heart chat with them and discussed a lot of things that's going on individually in their minds and what we can work on together as a group and, you know, stop feeling sorry for yourself and, you know, you've got to look at yourself and work even harder. So training's going to be full on now for the guys, and if we can bring in some players, then we will do.
Just 30 miles separate Maidstone and Bromley, and only goal difference separated the two teams before the start of their meeting at the Gallagher Stadium. It took Bromley just 11 minutes to take the lead. An excellent cross from Sam Wood allowed Junior Ogeria-Zukwe to head in his 6th of the season. The visitors then had David Gregory to thank for maintaining their advantage. Blair Turgot's volley kept out by the agile keeper. Bromley were unbeaten in their previous 4 meetings with the Stones and carried that confidence into their performance this time round. An effort from George Porter, saved by Lee Worgan. Bromley goalkeeper Gregory was called into action in the 2nd period, this time to prevent Oliver Muldoon from distance. A free kick from the same player came back off the crossbar. And then shortly after, they had a penalty appeal turned down when Will de Havilland fell to ground in the box. Instead, it's Bromley with back-to-back wins on the road.
We should have probably adapted to what they brought, and they'd done their homework, and, you know, first half were on top. Second half we adjusted, and we were definitely the better team, second half, and they held on, but, you know, we didn't get anything.
At the bottom of the table, 3 games without defeat for Bromley has seen them move up to 16th. Dover Athletic are expected to announce a new manager early next week. Braintree join them in the hunt for a new boss. Meanwhile, 4 defeats in a row for Dagenham and Redbridge have increased the pressure on Peter Taylor. Only Aldershot in the bottom 7 found a win at the weekend. Barrow are in the top half after their 2-0 victory over Sutton United. Eastleigh are in red-hot form with 4 wins on the spin. They move into 10th position. Hartlepool got back to winning ways and move into the top 7. But it's Salford who still lead the way, but only a point separates them between Leyton Orient and Harrogate Town. This Saturday, we're in West Yorkshire as Halifax look to reignite their campaign after 8 games without a win. Chesterfield, relegated from the Football League last year, travel to the MBI Shea Stadium. Coverage starts from 5 on BT Sport 1 and on 4K UHD. And all the goals and all the reaction from what will be another great weekend of 5th tier football in the Vanarama National League highlight show, which returns next Sunday at 10 o'clock on BT Sport 2. Just time to leave you with some of the best moments of the weekend. Thanks for watching. We'll see you again next time.